I can't. Pause. Read it again. I can't. Two ordinary words. But sometimes, two words can become a prison. I can't start again. I can't change. I can't leave. I can't speak. I can't learn that. I can't forgive. I can't become that person. I can't control what happens. And eventually, we stop questioning the sentence. We simply believe it. But here's the question I want you to sit with tonight. What exactly can't you do? Not emotionally, not philosophically, literally. What exactly? Can you not control the past? Correct. Can you control another person's decision? No. Can you guarantee the outcome? No. But can you choose your next action? Can you change your response? Can you learn? Can you prepare? Can you ask? Can you walk away? Can you begin again? Sometimes, yes. And that tiny distinction can change everything. Because perhaps the most dangerous sentence isn't, I failed. It's, I can't. Because failure describes something that happened. I can't predicts what can never happen. And predictions can be wrong. Welcome to chapter 24 of Novara Wisdom Gems. The mirror. Imagine standing in front of a gigantic mirror. You look at yourself. Across the glass are written the sentences you've repeated for years. I'm not good enough. It's too late. People like me don't do that. I can't change. I don't have what it takes. You stare at them, and then something strange happens. The mirror asks, how do you know? You hesitate. Maybe because someone told you. Maybe because you failed before. Maybe because you've never tried. Maybe because you're afraid. Maybe because circumstances really are difficult. Maybe because you have confused. I don't know how. With, I can't. And those are not the same sentence. The Stoic mirror. Almost 2,000 years ago, Stoic philosophers were wrestling with a question remarkably relevant to modern life. What actually belongs to me? Epictetus repeatedly emphasized distinguishing what is within our control from what isn't. And Marcus Aurelius returned again and again to the importance of governing our own judgments and actions. The idea isn't control everything. It's almost the opposite. Stop demanding control over what was never yours to control. You don't control the weather. You don't control another person's thoughts. You don't control yesterday. You don't control whether everyone understands you. You don't control every outcome. And trying to control these things can consume enormous amounts of energy. But there is another territory. Your choices, your effort, your response, your attention, your preparation, your values, your next step. That territory is where your agency lives. The worry. So let's make this personal. Think about something you're worried about right now. Don't choose 10 things. Choose one. A conversation, a decision, a relationship, money, your future, something that already happened. Now ask, can I directly control this? If the answer is no, pause. That doesn't mean don't care. It doesn't mean do nothing. It means separate concern from control. Maybe you can't control whether someone accepts your apology, but you can apologize sincerely. You can't control whether an opportunity works out, but you can prepare. You can't control whether someone misunderstands you, but you can communicate clearly. You can't control the past, but you can learn from it. And suddenly, the question changes. Instead of, how do I make everything go the way I want? You ask, what is mine to do? The four meanings of I can't. This is where I want us to slow down, because sometimes I can't is absolutely legitimate. We shouldn't turn Stoicism into motivational fantasy. There are genuine limitations. You cannot do everything. You cannot control everyone. You cannot guarantee every outcome. You cannot simply wish reality into submission. But listen to what happens when we investigate the sentence. I can't because it's impossible. Maybe, but is it actually impossible? Or merely difficult? I can't because I don't know how. That's different. Not knowing how is not the same as being incapable of learning. I can't because I'm afraid. That's different too. Fear can be powerful, but fear is an emotional experience. It isn't automatically a factual measurement of your ability. I can't because I've never done it before. Then perhaps what you actually mean is, I don't know yet. And those words leave a door open. The identity prison. Each door has a label. shy, failure, too old, too late, not smart enough, not confident enough, not lucky enough. The person walks through the corridor. Every door seems locked. Then they notice something. There are no locks. They were simply assuming the doors were closed. That's the trap. Sometimes the limitation isn't the circumstance. Sometimes it's the conclusion we've built around the circumstance. Again, not always. Some barriers are real. Some circumstances are genuinely difficult. Some doors really are closed. But the question is, which doors are actually locked? And which ones have you stopped trying? When "I can't" becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. Person A thinks, "I can't do this." So they don't prepare, they avoid, they delay, they eventually struggle. And then they say, "See, I knew I couldn't." The belief produced behavior. The behavior produced evidence. The evidence strengthened the belief. And now the belief feels like fact. But imagine person B. They think, "I don't know if I can do this yet." So they investigate, they practice, they ask questions, they fail, they adjust, they try again. Their first attempt isn't proof of ability, it's information. And slowly, their behavior changes the evidence. This is why language matters. Not because repeating positive affirmations magically changes reality, but because the sentence you believe can influence the actions you're willing to attempt. The comfort of helplessness. Here's something uncomfortable. Sometimes saying "I can't" protects us. If I say, "I can't," I don't have to risk failure. I don't have to be judged. I don't have to discover that I'm inexperienced. I don't have to leave what's familiar. I don't have to try and possibly disappoint myself. The sentence can become a hiding place. Because if something is impossible, you don't have to attempt it. And sometimes, "I can't" is less painful than "I might fail," but there is a price. Every time you automatically declare something impossible, you may be surrendering an opportunity to discover what was actually possible. The Stoic question. Now imagine placing every worry you carry on a table, one by one. Someone's opinion, not yours. The past, not yours anymore. The final outcome, not entirely yours. Another person's decision, not yours. Then place your own choices on the other side. Your effort, yours. Your preparation, yours. Your words, yours. Your response, yours. Your next action, yours. And suddenly, the table becomes lighter, not because your problems disappeared, because you've stopped carrying things that were never entirely yours. Acceptance is not surrender. This distinction matters. Acceptance doesn't mean, "I give up." Acceptance means, "I see reality clearly enough to stop fighting what I cannot change." If someone has already made their decision, you may not be able to change their mind, but you can decide what you do next. If something happened years ago, you cannot rewrite it, but you can decide what meaning and lesson you carry forward. If uncertainty exists, you cannot eliminate all of it, but you can prepare for what you can reasonably anticipate. Acceptance isn't weakness. Sometimes acceptance is the beginning of intelligent action. The question that changes the sentence. Imagine someone saying, "I can't change my life." Don't immediately respond, "Yes, you can." That's too easy. Instead ask, "What part?" You can't change everything. Okay, what part can you change? You can't control the entire situation. Okay, what part can you influence? You can't guarantee success. Okay, what can you prepare? You can't control their response. Okay, what can you communicate? You can't undo the past. Okay, what can you learn? That is the Stoic mirror. Not everything is possible, but where exactly does my agency begin? The smallest possible step. Sometimes the answer isn't a massive transformation. It's tiny. One phone call, one application, one conversation, 1 hour of learning, one honest admission, one boundary, one apology, one page, one attempt, one decision, one step. You don't need to control the entire mountain. You need to know, where is my next step? And then take it. The moment of freedom. Return to the mirror. The words "I can't" are still there, but now the protagonist looks closer. Some disappear, others remain. I can't control what they think. True, I can't undo yesterday. True, I can't guarantee tomorrow. True, but beneath them appear new words. I can choose my response. I can learn. I can prepare. I can ask. I can try. I can take the next step. The mirror isn't pretending everything is possible. It's showing something more valuable. The difference between limitation and surrender. The final walk. The adult walks along a mountain path. On one side, other people's opinions. The past, uncertainty, outcomes, chance. They don't fight these things. They simply stop trying to carry them. Ahead, choice, effort, response, values. Next step, the sunrise becomes brighter, and the narration slows. You don't need control over everything. Pause. You need clarity about what is yours. Pause. Some things belong to the world. Some things belong to other people. Some things belong to chance. But your choices, your response, your next step, those are where your freedom begins. The final question. So, what are you worried about right now? Name it. Don't run from it. Don't exaggerate it. Don't pretend it doesn't matter. Look directly at it and ask, is this mine to control? If yes, act. If partly, act where you can. If no, perhaps your task isn't to control it. Perhaps your task is to release the demand that you should, because peace doesn't always come from getting what we want. Sometimes, peace comes from finally understanding what was never ours to command. Maybe you've been saying, I can't, for years. Maybe you've used those words so often, they stopped sounding like a sentence. They started sounding like your identity. But tonight, change one thing. Don't replace it with, I can do anything. That's not wisdom. Replace it with, let me find out what I actually can do. That's different. That's curiosity. That's courage. That's agency. And perhaps, that's freedom. Because you don't need to control the entire world. You don't need to control every outcome. You don't need to eliminate uncertainty. You don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need to rewrite the past. You need to discover what is yours to do. Then do that. The world will always contain things you cannot control. That isn't your weakness. It's reality. Pause. Your freedom begins when you stop demanding that reality be different and start asking what you can do within it. Don't ask, can I control this? Ask, what is mine to do? Novara Wisdom Gems. Think deeper. Live consciously.